What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Classroom Confessions. My name is Orlando Baxter, former teacher turned stand-up comedian, and now host of a show where I grade people's anonymous confessions. That's right. People send in their anonymous confessions based on a specific theme. I read them, I react to them, and then I grade them, and then I ask you guys to help me choose which one should be confession of the week. The theme for this week is teacher tantrums and school staff snap moments. So if you ever lost it a little bit in class, whether it was for a little while or a long time, this episode is for you. Let's get to the first confession. Comes all the way from Indianapolis, Indiana. Middle school teacher says, "Hey Orlando, my seventh graders wouldn't stop talking during a group project. And after asking them to quiet down 5 times, I snapped. I slammed the classroom door so hard the globe fell off the shelf. Oh man, made the whole world stop. Kids froze, then one said, Miss, are you okay? I just nodded and pretended like nothing happened, but my hands were shaking. You rotten mother. Looking back, it was just noise. I could have handled it better. What grade would you give me? If I had to give you a grade, I would give you a C because although you had a tantrum and your outburst was unnecessary, you did not take it out directly on the kids. And I can respect that. That's hard to do. You shaking and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna give you a C. Next confession comes all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. High school teacher says Orlando. A student turned in a test with doodles instead of answers, like full on anime sketches across the page. Without thinking, I ripped it in half in front of the whole class. A little dramatic. He looked crushed. The rest of the class went silent. I ended up reprinting it for him later, but the damage was done. At the time, I thought I was sending a message. Now I know I was just petty. Okay, what grade would I give you? If I had to give you a grade, I would definitely give you an F because that was effing crazy. It was crazy. You did not have to have this temper tantrum. If you're that upset, you could have just given him a very silent F. That's it. Ripping up the paper, that's all dramatic. It's unnecessary. You weren't being petty. You were actually sending a message that you were effing crazy. Confession number 3 comes all the way from an elementary school teacher in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She goes, Hey, Orlando. One morning, a third grader knocked over my coffee for the third time that week. Mad annoying. I blurted out, You're banned from my desk forever, and made them sit on the carpet alone. Ugh. Too much. They cried. Everyone stared. I instantly felt like a villain in a Disney movie. Which one? The one where she put the log between the person's legs, then broke each leg? No, that's Misery. I didn't know Disney made that movie. Later, I bought them a hot chocolate to apologize, but the damage was done. What grade would you give me? If I had to give you a grade, I would definitely give you a D because you were a little bit deranged. Yes, I get it. You were annoyed that they knocked over the coffee 3 times. Maybe you should move it to a better place. But you already yelled at them and banned them from your desk. But why would you make them sit on the carpet floor in front of everybody? That's mad humiliating. And the only reason I didn't give you an F for that is because you recognized that you were wrong and you tried to apologize with a hot chocolate. I appreciated that. That's why I upgraded to a D for being a little bit deranged. Next confession comes all the way from Oklahoma City in Oklahoma. High school teacher says, Hey, Orlando, during finals, a student kept clicking the pen nonstop. Oh my God, I can hear it right now. I asked him to stop 3 times. He smirked and clicked it louder. A little shit. I snapped, grabbed the pen, and threw it across the room. Too much. The class gasped. He laughed. I realized I had just committed the same level of middle school pettiness as my students. What grade would you give me? If I had to give you a grade, I would give you a D because you did something you just shouldn't do. You shouldn't throw things and you shouldn't let the kids get under your skin that much. And that's exactly what you did. Yes, I get it. The clicking is mad annoying, especially if they're doing it on purpose, but you should have just took the pen and hit it. But instead, you grabbed it, threw it like a damn drunken quarterback, and made the kid that did it smile because that's what he wanted you to do. He wanted to get underneath your skin. You let him win. So I'm going to give you a D. Next confession comes from a school counselor all the way in Jacksonville, Florida. They go, Hey, Orlando, I was covering lunch duty when 2 kids wouldn't stop arguing. They are always arguing. Instead of stepping in, I sat down, crossed my arms, refused to talk until they stopped. That's interesting. Never heard of that technique. It turned into a 12-minute staring contest with 50 middle schoolers watching. Wow. When I finally spoke, one kid said, You're worse than my mom. I thought I was proving a point. Really, I just froze up. What grade would you give me? If I had to give you a grade, I'm going to give you a C because if I'm being honest with you, I'm still confused. I love the fact that you didn't yell or scream at the kids, but I thought that sit down protest, I'm not going to say anything, passive aggressive approach you took was very strange. But somehow, even though it took 12 minutes, it worked. I think everybody, instead of staring at the 2 kids fighting, they were now staring at your crazy ass. I'm confused, so I'm going to give you a C. His last confession comes all the way from Louisville, Kentucky. Assistant principal says, "There, Orlando, at a Friday pep rally, the sound system kept cutting out." Why do the school systems always have the shittiest equipment? Always cutting out. After the third mic failure, I lost it. Snapped the clipboard in half over my knee. Are you shitting me? This is school. This isn't SmackDown. Whole gym went dead silent. Then the band kids started clapping like it was WWE. Smart kids. I was mortified. I end up apologizing at Monday's announcement, but the kids still imitate the clipboard smash when they see me in the hall. I love these kids. What grade would you give me? If I had to give you a grade, I'm definitely going to give you a C because for a split second, you were crazy. You turned school spirit into SmackDown Live. How can I not give you a C? And to be honest with you, I would have given you a D, but you apologized, so I couldn't. But I love the students at your school. Now they just made you a meme. They just going around cracking stuff. You might have improved the school spirit at the school with that move. All right, y'all, that's it for this week's episode of Classroom Confessions. If you have a favorite confession from this episode, please make sure you leave it in the comments so we can choose a confession of the week. Also, if you have your own confession you'd like to send into the show, please submit it to orlandobaxter.com. Remember, you can either write it in or leave a voice message. I read and listen to them all, and who knows, maybe your confession might end up on the show. Next week's theme is classmates that cross the line. So if you or a classmate ever did something that was funny that went too far or was just messed up, please submit that to orlandobaxter.com. And that's it for this week's episode of Classroom Confessions. Thanks for hanging out with me. Please remember to hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcast. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you next week on Classroom Confessions. Peace.